Hey guys, Foxdrop here with a video on the recent buff to the jungle items and what that means for junglers overall. Now the reason why I wanted to do this video was because I was recently talking to you guys on my Facebook. I asked you guys what you thought of the new Season 4 jungle changes so far. Some of you guys said that it was good because it gives junglers more gold, you're now more wealthy so you're more like a carry. Others of you said it was okay, but you didn't really like the fact that you don't get level 2 off 2 buffs anymore. And there are a lot of changes in the Season 4 jungle. And personally, my favourite change so far has to be this most recent buff to these jungle items. Now before I go into details to why I feel like that's a really good change, if you want to get involved in these kind of conversations or be access to very exclusive giveaways or just to get notified of when I go streaming, feel free to like me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/foxdroplol, but I'll put that link in the description for you if you want to go visit that. And I'm also aware that Stonewall has recently released a video covering this very topic, and unfortunately I was only aware that he was doing this as I had already prepared this video, and I did consider cancelling it and not giving it out, but I thought, well, two opinions are better than one. So if you want to go and see what he has to say about it, then I'll put the links to his video and the article he wrote on Rainer Gaming in the description as well. So what exactly are these new jungle item changes? Well, it's basically a sustain buff. You now heal back a percentage of the damage that you do to jungle monsters in both health and mana. Now in theory, I don't really like this whole kind of concept because this again boils down to jungle stats. Jungle stats are stuff that only benefit you when you're clearing that jungle, and that stop benefiting you once you come out of it. They're the opposite of combat stats, which are things that help you when you are fighting enemy players. However, in practice it's a bit different, and this change is definitely good. And what that really means is that you no longer have to worry about your sustain as much in the jungle, both with your health and your mana. Previously, junglers who had sustain issues, whether that be with their health or with their mana, would be held from viability for that very reason. They were never bad jungle champions, so to speak, they just never worked in practice because of those issues. And because sustain was an issue, I would find myself buying a crystalline flask on champions like Kha'Zix, Pantheon or Talon when I played them in the jungle. And this wasn't really ideal, it definitely hurt them because of the gold income, it set you back from your item build. But now, you don't need to do that. And now that sustain issues have been remedied, these champions are much like a pair of boobs at the end of a long workday. Nothing holds them back. And it's also worth mentioning that worrying about your sustain is not fun, it's not an enjoyable mechanic to have as a jungler. Having the actual jungle less threatening or dangerous is not a bad thing. I mean, just ask Broken Shard. And the biggest people who are benefiting from this new jungle item buff are the AD casters, so people like Wukong, Pantheon and Kha'Zix. Although Kha'Zix was already strong, he's now stronger. And the reason why this new jungle item change has benefited the AD casters the most is because they use a lot of mana when they're clearing, and they don't have any sustain to help their health either, so they can kind of get low at times as well, but they do a lot of damage. And with this new Spirit Stone change where they get healed in health and mana for a percentage of what damage they deal, it definitely helps them a lot. Of course, this isn't the only change in Season 4 which makes these champions good compared to what they were like in Season 3. The whole jungle change to the income, and now the fact that junglers are more like carries, definitely helps them as well. In addition to this, because you are healed for a percentage of the damage that you deal, this means that the more damage you deal, the more you are healed, so the more benefit you are getting from this sustain. So on the same coin, the less damage you do, the less regen you are getting, so this hits the tanks and the slow clearers. However, it is also true that the tankier you are, the less sustain becomes an issue for you in the jungle. If you are clearing the jungle and you are tanky and you lose say 200 health out of your 3000, that really doesn't mean as much as if you are jungling but you are squishy and you lose like 300 health of your 1500 total health pool. That is quite a big deal to you, and so the sustain doesn't mean as much if you are tanky. However, having said that, this could introduce a kind of high damage fast clearing jungle meta that isn't as reliant on tanks as it was before. And we're kind of already seeing this meta in play when champions like Vi and Lee Sin, who will be buying things like Ancient Golem in the past, now are buying the Elder Lizard and just carrying like a carry would. It's already been established in Season 4 that the early ganking junglers are very powerful for several reasons. For example, the fact that you get your conservation bonus for your jungle item, which means that you can go without jungle farm and still get a bit extra. And also if you do fall behind in levels, jungle camps now scale, so you get extra for killing those high level camps. With this in mind and the buff to the jungle items, we could be seeing champions who are ganking all the time, but also then who go back into the jungle and clear that very quickly because they're building high damage items, but not losing health when they enter that jungle. So the ganks are no longer limited by the jungle itself, only by how much damage they take in the ganks. And so once you get out of that very early game, you're now only really buying potions depending on how much you intend to fight the enemy, not how long you intend to stay in the jungle. And this is all good news for you if you are a jungle player, but if you are a laner, can imagine you bricking yourself just a little bit. That does it for my thoughts on this new jungle item change. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Visit me on my social media and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content that I put out onto this YouTube channel. But thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video.